A couple of weeks ago, I tried to give you guys all a heads up on why it's really important to do research on candidates in your local body elections that are coming up this year. And I said I'd do what I can to help you out and watch out for candidates. So today is the first time I'm going to talk to you about a candidate you really should be concerned about and how it's possible that this person could end up being a decision maker for a specific city. This is Donna Pokere-Phillips. Now, Donna is a lawyer who has run for council for the last couple of elections in Kirikiriroa-Hamilton. She's also run at the last couple of national elections as well, initially under the Māori Party, then under TOP. Most recently, though, she has aligned herself with the COVID conspiracy group. And oh boy, are we talking full-on crazy rabbit hole here. So if we flash back about a week from the time that this video was recorded, the government had just rolled out the juvenile COVID vaccines for kids aged between 5 and 11 to be able to go and get first day of doses. And suddenly through these anti-vax forums and chat rooms and whatever, wildfire rumour hit that 5 kids at the North Shore location had collapsed and the parents were told they weren't allowed to call in ambulances because it might scare other people. And Liz Gunn was out there fighting for your freedom and demanding to know what was going on from mainstream media, and they just weren't covering the case. This got picked up and pushed by Donna Pokere-Phillips, with her own little twist added in, saying things like, oh no, the internet's not working, it's a government conspiracy to stop people from seeing the truth. We have to fight for our kids. And don't get me wrong, if the kids had collapsed, I would totally understand. But research has shown from Dylan Reeve at the Spinoff, and Dylan is absolutely fantastic at this kind of stuff. If you ever get a chance, look at the documentary Tickled that he worked on with David Farrier. Absolutely brilliant stuff. His research shows that the start of the rumour was, shock horror, Liz Gunn, the person who was pushing the theory that perhaps there was something going wrong because she wants the viewership numbers and she feels a little bit left out because she's not on TV anymore because of her crazy COVID conspiracy theories. So anyway, the kids didn't actually collapse. There was one who was feeling a little woozy, but that was pretty much it. And that's not unexpected when it comes to kids getting vaccines in general. People give blood and faint all the time. It's just what happens. Some people, myself included, do not like being around needles. But that didn't stop Donna Pokere-Phillips from pushing this particularly heinous idea that kids were being hurt so that Jacinda could roll out this vaccine and not scare anybody. Which is a really horrible way of framing this, by the way. But just to make things even more interesting for myself, I commented saying, hey look, this is bullshit. Can you please correct this? You're pushing some misinformation. And I was fascinated by the fact that I got jumped on by so many people down the rabbit hole, even though it was a really straightforward comment that this information about kids collapsing was incorrect. Suddenly, I am a member of this deep state, I am being paid by the government, every single conspiracy theory gets roped out. Like, it's insane. It's legitimately insane just how crazy people go based on one statement. I didn't go through and push anybody else's buttons deliberately. It was one statement, this information is wrong, please stop doing it. And it ended up being, boom, right in the firing line. So how do we go from a whole bunch of people who are vehemently anti-vax, who are buying into the misinformation and spreading of disinformation, into the potential of a person here to win a seat around the table at Kirikiriroa-Hamilton? Well, for that, things get a little more complicated because this year, the city of Hamilton is changing the way that people vote. And this is the perfect kind of candidate to work on ways to manipulate those particular changes. You see, Hamilton has introduced 2 big changes to how people are going to vote in their local body elections. They've gone from first past the post to STV, so instead of just ticking a box, you rank your candidates. And they've introduced 2 Māori seats around the table. So at the next election, 2 councillors are going to be elected by people who are on the Māori roll. Fantastic choices and ways of trying to increase democracy and get a better, fairer turnout, both at the polls and in the results. I'm totally behind them 100%. But it means that when you've got smaller block voting options, such as somebody running in one of the Māori seats, they only need to mobilise a smaller amount of people to get behind them to be able to get in. And Donna, we know, has already run campaigning for Māori votes on Māori electoral rolls because she was a member of the Māori Party seeking the Hauraki Waikato electorate seat. She knows how to campaign to that audience, and she knows full well what the issues are that speak to those voters, and on paper she's a fantastic looking candidate. She's got lawyer degrees, she's a parent and a grandparent, she's very community spirited. There's a lot of ways that you can spin this. It doesn't change the fact that at the same time she's pushing information that's dangerous and harmful and spreading misinformation about what's going on with the rest of everything else that's happening around the world. But on paper, and when it comes to voters, that doesn't always matter. It's what you're presented with, and people don't do their research, which is why that video last time was about doing your research. It's so important. So it's entirely possible that Donna is going to run in those seats. She might run in the general seat as well. And either way, the important thing to remember here is that Hamiltonians are going to have to rank their candidates, and they're going to need to rank these candidates at the very bottom. Don't miss them out. Actually rank them at the bottom. It's called strategic voting, and it is so much fun. It's really important, though, to do your strategic voting when you get a chance, and you've got a chance coming up in October when you have all these mail-in ballots that you're going to have to deal with. Not you personally, you're not going to deal with them all, you're only going to deal with your one. Rank her low, that's the point. I think that's enough on this topic for me, because to be fair, it makes me fucking angry when you have to go out of your way to try and explain to people this person is dangerous. And don't get me wrong, I know not everybody knows this, but the closer we get to the elections, the more it becomes really apparent that some candidates are actually dangerous if they were to get into a position where they have to make those decisions. Nobody wants somebody who is known for spreading misinformation and disinformation in those particular roles, and that's why it's important that you go out and you do your research. Do it. Research your candidates. Right, that's me done for today. I will catch you guys all next week. Have a fantastic weekend. Ka kite anō.